Who doesn't dream of being healthy in every way, body, mind, and soul? Yet we often find ourselves chasing the next big thing, hopping from one trend to another, like a butterfly to different flowers. This is what I like to call shiny object syndrome. Fast forward 10 years, and we're often still at square one, feeling drained, unhealthy, and just plain tired. How much of that rings true for the journey you've been on, trying to lose weight, get healthy, get fit, and keep the weight off? I know, I've personally been there. I went from 118 kilograms to 68 kilograms. Not because I studied dietetics and psychology. Yes, that did help. What made me lose that weight and keep it off is what I want to share with you today. As you can see here, I went from this to this. Was that found in 10 weeks, losing 10 kgs, six-pack abs in 6 weeks? Hell no. It came from building the foundations, changing my identity. And this is what I want to share with you today. The 9.5 commandments I cultivated to get me to the point I am right now. So grab a cup of coffee, get a pen and paper, and let's start unpacking what these 9.5 commandments are, how to cultivate them, and how to lose the weight and keep it off. So let's dive in. The first commandment is eating slow. Eating slow is vitally important if you want to lose weight and keep it off. Thing is, we are so good at being mindlessly distracted, having a plate of food while watching TV, and 20 minutes later, the whole plate of food is done. We still feel hungry. We dish up seconds. 20 minutes after that, you know what? I had too much to eat. I feel guilty. I feel uncomfortable. How many times do we do that? That is why eating slow is vitally important on this journey of weight loss. The body takes 25 to 30 minutes to realize how much food we actually consume, hormonally and mechanically. That is why I challenge you to start cultivating the ability to eat slow, paying attention to what you eat. Set a timer, time yourself, see actually how fast you eat. Take that time, and the next meal, add 5 more minutes. Next meal, add 5 more minutes, and aim for 30 minutes per meal. Another quick trick here, pick up your knife and fork, put your food in your mouth, put the knife and fork down, chew, taste, repeat. Mindless eating a lot of times lead to excess calorie intake, and that makes gaining the weight easier and losing the weight so much harder. Eating slow is one of the key commandments before anything else can work to move forward on this weight loss journey. Also, why eating slow is important. It gives us the ability to actually understand what hungry feels like, what full feels like. And once we can differentiate actually our own body cues again, we can start chasing what I call 80% full. 80% full is that level where, you know what? I'm a little bit hungry, but I actually had enough. That's a great indicator of I'm not overeating, I'm in a little bit of a calorie deficit, and also it cultivates the ability to, you know what? I'm okay with being a little hungry. Because for most of us, the moment we experience some form of hunger, it's like the world is ending. No, hunger isn't an emergency, and that's where eating slow and developing the ability to 80% full is very, very important. So let's get to the second commandment. Second commandment, eating lean protein with each meal. On a weight loss journey, protein is very, very important. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient there is. It keeps us fuller for longer, and also it gives us more sustained energy because it slows down digestion. Now, also where protein is amazing, the thermic effect of food. It costs around 20% of the energy of protein to break protein down, which makes it, again, easier to be in a deficit. And usually when we're in a deficit to lose weight, hunger is the biggest enemy. Protein is the best way to prevent the hunger and the energy dips. That is why each meal, try to aim for 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. It is a non-negotiable. Yes, protein, too much protein isn't good for us. We can't digest more than 30, 40 grams. All of that things are missing the point. Yes, you can digest more than that. And no, too much protein isn't bad. It won't kill you. It won't hurt your kidneys unless you are diagnosed with a kidney problem. Yes, then protein becomes a problem. But unless you've been diagnosed with a kidney disease, that is not something to even think about ever again. Protein is vitally important for each meal, especially for breakfast, where a lot of us That is our lowest protein meal, which means by 10 o'clock we are hungry. We could eat our friends if that was acceptable. So usually around 10 o'clock, the snacks we reach for are the worst kinds. Just try for 1 week having 30 to 40 grams of protein with each meal. You'll be surprised by lunchtime you haven't resorted to cannibalism and ate all your colleagues. Lean protein with each meal is vitally important. Check the description down below. I'll give a nice little PDF there with some protein ideas and how to make protein work for you. Which now brings us to the third commandment. The one thing we all like to villainize, demonize. Carbs are the devil. Cut out carbs completely, otherwise you won't be able to lose weight. Carbs are making us fat. No, it doesn't. Carbs don't make you fat. Fat doesn't make you fat. Protein doesn't make you fat. It's the overconsumption of energy that makes you fat. If you want a deeper dive into the carbs, click the link up below where there's a video where I unpack all of this. Losing weight isn't about cutting out carbs. It's about making smarter carb choices. And what I mean with smarter carb choices, carbs that are minimally processed, carbs that are on the whole form. If you can see what the carb was originally, you're on the right track. These are things like legumes, chickpeas, mung beans, pinto bean, garbosa beans, split peas, lentils, black-eyed peas, not the band, actually the legume, whole grains, buckwheat, amaranth, oats, rice, things like this. Tubers, potatoes, sweet potatoes, yams. Whole carbs are a great source of energy and fiber, especially the fiber part there, which is very important for our gut biome. So it's not about cutting out carbs, it's making smart carb choices. If you want to deep dive deeper into this, as I said, click the link on the top. Certain carbs does make it easier to overeat them. And this is where we need to be vigilant about highly processed carbs. The more processed a carb becomes, the easier it is to overeat it. More processed carbs, more energy per gram, easier to overeat on. Keep your carbs simple, whole, unprocessed, as close to nature as intended. Fourth commandment, fruits and veggies, or in other words, vegging up your plate. Fruits and vegetables are very important to live healthy, to get nutrients and phytonutrients in. Fruits won't kill you. Yes, fruits have sugar in them, but guess what? They also have fiber in it. I've not met a person that actually got obese by just consuming fruit. Even diabetics that I work with can still enjoy fruits if it's done smartly. For most of us, fruits aren't the thing we overeat on. So stop villainizing fruits. Fruit juices I do have a problem with, but whole fruit, as nature intended it, not something to worry about. Now where the powerhouses comes in here, vegetables. Vegetables are an amazing source of nutrients and fiber, but also vegetables are generally low in calories. So how I want you to think about vegetables is the bulk of your meal. If we have a plate of food, 50% of that plate of food should be vegetables, 30% protein, 20% whole unprocessed smart carbs. Now that 50% being vegetables, that builds up the bulk of your meal. We still eat with our eyes. We still like to see big plates of food. You know what? That looks like a good plate of food. That will satiate me. I can already say I'm going to enjoy it. Compared to a plate of parsley and an ice cube on it, you know you're going to be starving just by looking at it. That is where vegetables are a great source to increase the bulk of your meal. And if that 50, 30, 20 is 2 to 3 of your meals per day, you're winning at this game. Don't overcomplicate it. Vegging up your plate is a very important commandment to master. Just the last thing on the vegetable side, eat the rainbow. The more colors we can get in, the better for our nutrient density and phytonutrient intake. And also, how do you cook them? Steaming, boiling, grilling, oven baking. To be honest, there is no best way. Yes, steaming versus boiling, 3 to 4% nutrient density difference. In the big scope of things, it means nothing. If you steam your veggies but you hate how they taste, but you prefer baking them, then bake them. It's worrying about 2 to 3 to 4% of nutrient difference. That doesn't matter. Getting the vegetables in matters more than nitpicking the best cooking method. Yes, if you're going to tell me you're going to deep fry all your vegetables, I might have a problem with that. That's maybe not the best choice. So cook the vegetables the way you like to eat them and eat the rainbow. Fifth commandment, sleep is king. We are so good at this whole mindset of work, hustle, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Sleep is vitally important, living healthy and for fat loss. One night of bad sleep, the next day you'll be less insulin sensitive, you'll have more cravings, you'll have much higher highs and much lower sugar dips, which then again leads to more cravings. You're also less leptin sensitive, which means you don't get satiated as quickly as you usually do, which would have meant a 600 calorie plate of food don't satiate me now. Usually I did. Now I consume 800 calories before I get satiated. 200 calories might not seem like a lot, but do that again and again and again. That's why sleep is vitally important if fat loss is your goal. Not to mention even just brain health. Sleep deprived? How's your mental clarity the next day? Let me guess, completely shite, because sleep affects our mental abilities. I have less willpower. I have less cognitive clarity, which means it's easier to say no to the things I know I should be doing. It's easier to say yes to all the wrong stuff. And that whole little scenario, I'm tired. I didn't sleep well. Work today was horrendous. I'm stressed. You know what? I don't have time to work out. Let's just go home. And while we're at it, let's get the drive-through, some KFC or Mackie D's. So now what did you do? You already increase your food intake by making the wrong choices and decrease your energy burn by not going to exercise. Sleep is vitally important for weight loss, health, and mental health. But I will give you a tip here with the sleep thing. Think about sleep as something you need to practice, where every night, around 30 to 40 minutes before you go to bed, start doing 2 or 3 things every night. Maybe a bit of journaling, having a cup of tea, reading a fiction book or something. But do those 2 to 3 things every night before you go to bed. It's a great way to condition you. Once I do these things, sleep is going to come. The more I do that, the easier it becomes for that to induce sleep, and evening routines become so much easier. Not that mindless scrolling in bed, looking at my phone nonstop. That doesn't help. Sleep needs to be priority. This is where the 6th commandment comes in, exercise. I don't think I have to really go deep into why exercise is important. Exercise is vitally important for health. No, exercise isn't there just for fat loss. Exercise is there for health, muscle health, skeletal health, and mental health. We should stop labeling exercise as a sole method of fat loss. That's not what it's there for. Exercise is there to keep me healthy in order to show up, get the things done that I need to get done to actually do what matters. What exercise? To be honest, there is no best. HIIT, cardio, weightlifting, running, swimming. Yes, if we have to nitpick, we can rate them, but in the big picture, the best one is the one you can consistently do. Don't start 6-7 days a week. Start small, twice a week, 20 minutes. Then twice a week, 25 minutes. Then twice a week, 30 minutes. Build your way up to where exercise becomes a habit. Then you can start worrying about the best form of exercise. Start with the form of exercise that you enjoy. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. Exercise is one of the most important things to help us cope with depression, anxiety, stress, and just to clear the mind for us to think. Bonus, we're burning energy, which helps make losing fat easier. Exercise is very, very important. Which now brings us to another form of exercise, the 7th commandment, exercising the mind. We go to school, we go to university, we study, we get a job, and guess what? We stop learning. The more we can constantly learn, the better we can understand life. The more we see things from different angles, different perspectives. But also, it constantly challenges the mind. The better we can challenge the mind, the younger the brain actually stays. There's many studies that showed the more we use the brain logically, taxing it, challenging it, pushing the boundaries, thinking deeply, the better we keep off things like Alzheimer's, dementia, cognitive decline. Exercising the mind is vitally important. Never stop learning anything. And what I will make you think of a bit deeper here, mimetic desire. Mentally, the things we expose ourselves to, the social media, the TV, the Instagram likes, the algorithms and things, those things you like and watch and read also form the foundation of the things you are chasing. Those are the things you compare yourself to on a day-to-day basis. Those comparisons, those desires, those things you see and chase, are they helping you become a better person, or they are making you regret your own choices, make you less happy, with the life you have. Always comparing yourself. If I only get this, I'll be happy. Once I achieve this, I'll be happy. Be careful to what you feed the mind. As we need to exercise the mind, we also need to be vigilant what we are feeding the mind through the eyes and the ears. Those things become the things you chase. Have a look at your social media. What are you looking at? What does that mean for your own desires and actions? Start paying attention to this. The mind is a very important aspect to focus on, because the mind is where we live. That's where we make our decisions. That's where we feel we are worthy, we are worthless, we're not achieving. Why can't I do this? Mastering the mind is very important if fat loss becomes our goal and living healthy, because the mind is the thing that makes the choices. The better you understand it, the better you are mentally healthy, the easier it becomes to show up to do the things you know you need to be doing. The 8th commandment is the 4 quadrants of life. It's easy to just go with emotion. As a sailboat on the ocean, the wind's blowing, the sailboat is moving. But guess what? It's moving in a circle. Is it going anywhere? Not really, since it's just moving in a circle. Is it moving? Yes. Going anywhere? No. That is where we need to have a plan. And what I mean with a plan, we need to know where we are headed. Because once we know where we are headed, we can use the wind to steer the sails. Now the boat knows what port it has to go to. Now it can use the wind to direct it. And that is where I use the 4 quadrants of life. I classify life into 4 quadrants. It's not more important. One quadrant isn't more important than the other. It's just 4 quadrants that make up life. The first quadrant is the body. The second quadrant is the mind. The third quadrant is spirituality and relationship. And the fourth quadrant is career. Now, take a piece of paper. Make 4 quadrants. In each of those quadrants, body, mind, spirituality, career, jot down 2 to 3 things you would like to achieve in the next 12 months. Body, lose weight. That means nothing. These things you write down needs to be tangible and measurable. Lose 10 kgs. Okay, now we can do. What does that mean? Monthly, around 750 grams. Okay, what does that mean? Weekly. What does that mean? I need to do daily. Because once we know what we want to achieve, that we can measure, we can start reverse engineering it to be able to see what's the 8-month benchmark, the 6 months, the 3 months, the monthly, the weekly. Then we know what we need to start doing daily in order to get there. 2 to 3 things in each of those quadrants, just to get some direction of where we are headed. And keep in mind here, it's not so much about achieving the goal. It's about cultivating the habits, becoming the person that can achieve those goals. Those goals only get achieved if you are doing the daily and weekly steps to get there. And the only way we do those things if they become habit, consistently showing up. That's where we need to have a clear plan of where we want to go, because then we can create the journey, the path that we walk in order to get there. That's why the 4 quadrants, it's something I do with myself every year, which now brings us on to the 9th commandment, stress management. Stress is one of those things we all are going to experience one time in our life. And actually, it's something we're always going to experience one time in life because we only have one life. But just quickly, when it comes to stress, there's 2 kinds of stress. We have internal stress and we've got external stress. External stress is things that happen to us. We've got no power over it. Maybe you go for a morning run, you trip, you fall, you break your leg. Are you suffering? Yes. Somebody in your family passed away. You're sad. You're suffering. You're on your way to work. Suddenly there's an accident on the highway. You're stuck in traffic. You can't change anything. Also, natural disasters, flooding, load shedding, looting, things like this. Things will always happen to us that we've got no control over. That is what we call external suffering. Life will always have some suffering in it because we can't control everything. But this is where internal suffering comes in. This is the suffering, the could-us, the should-us, the would-us. If I only did this, if I didn't say this, maybe this wouldn't have happened. If I only did this, maybe this wouldn't have happened. What's this person thinking? What did this message say? It's that little hamster wheel in our head running over and over and over with all the could-us, the should-us, and the would-us. That's us being our own judge, our own jury, and our own executioner. Unless we start tackling that form of suffering, we will never have some form of peace in life. And that's 95% of our suffering, is that internal suffering. That is where stress management is vitally important, because by just avoiding our stresses, don't think weight loss will become easier. Because the more we avoid the things that are causing our stress, the more we start chasing forms of escapism. And these forms of escape can be binge eating, eating our emotions, alcohol, escaping with social media, binge watching Netflix. And usually all of those somehow gets attached to, let me eat something or let me drink something. Now we're getting more energy in to start coping with life. And we're trying to lose weight, which now even becomes more impossible. You need to start focusing on your mental health. Because the worse that becomes, the more we avoid things that's stressing us out, those stresses don't go away. They just slowly get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we start chasing forms of escape more and more and more. I see this weekly as I work in a psychiatric hospital dealing with depression, anxiety, substance abuse. The problems don't go away unless we start showing up. And all these commandments tie in there. The exercise, exercising the mind, exercising the body, thinking clearly, feeding the body the correct foods, nourishing the mind. All these things can help you cope with stress, and stress can help you cope with all of them. Unless you start showing up to deal with the stresses, don't think losing weight and becoming healthy will ever be achievable. And that now brings us to commandment 9.5, 80-20. When we start looking for ways to lose weight, we're always thinking eliminate everything. No chocolates, no pizzas, no this, no that. Guess what you binge on? The thing you restrict yourself on. The 80-20 rule is 80% of the time, show up and do the things that your body and future you will thank you for. The other 20%, sorry for my French, fuck it. Enjoy the chocolate cake, the brownies, the milk tart, the braai broodjies, the barbecue, the lamb chops, all these kinds of stuff. We still need to enjoy food. I love food. But you know what? Don't think and say to yourself, I can't have this, I can't have this. Reframe that and say, I need to earn my indulgence. And how do you earn your indulgence? By showing up, taking care of your body, eating the right foods, exercising, taking care of your mental health. And you know what? It's Saturday. I'm craving some pizza. Go and enjoy the pizza and move on. You know what? I want a hamburger. If I'm craving a hamburger on the weekend, I'm not going to go for a hamburger with no bun and a side salad. I'm going to go for a proper burger. A hamburger, cheese, bacon, chips. Why not? Enjoy it. Food is still meant to be enjoyed. If that's 20% of your life, what's wrong with that? The more we restrict, the more we say we can't, the more the thing will haunt us, and that's the thing we're going to binge on. 80-20 rule is something I've always done, and I still enjoy all my foods. I don't restrict myself. I need to earn those foods. And just something I keep myself in check there with is the rule of 2. And what the rule of 2 states, never do something negative more than twice in a row, and never miss something positive more than twice in a row. Life happens. But you know what? I didn't exercise today. That's fine. What does rule of 2 state? I have to exercise tomorrow. I can't miss it again. Because if I miss something positive once, okay, twice, I already missed it twice, 3 times. You know what? I already didn't go 3 times this week to exercise. How easy it is to do it 4 times now. I already didn't exercise 4 times this week. Well, it's almost a week. I could just start back again next week. Now you didn't go once this week. Also, you know what? Lunch. I had pizza. It wasn't planned. Well, I already ruined my diet, so let's just go for McDonald's tonight. You know what? I already ruined lunch yesterday, dinner tonight. You know what? I'll start Monday again. But the rule of 2, if I had a bad lunch, what does the rule state? Dinner has to be the right kind of foods again. Don't overcomplicate it. Just don't do something negative more than twice in a row, and don't miss something positive more than twice in a row. Life is still meant to be enjoyed. You can be healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, and still enjoy the indulgence of life. And now what I want you to do is take a moment to reflect on each of these commandments. Then rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. How do you measure up? Identifying your starting points helps to pinpoint where the journey of improvement begins. Focus on the areas needing the most attention. But remember, overwhelm is the enemy of progress. Introduce just one of these new practices each week, allowing yourself all the time and space to cultivate these commandments genuinely. This is how I still live to this day. This is how I went from 118 to 68 kilograms. That journey took me a better half of 6 years. It's not about perfection. This is about progress. Real change doesn't happen in a month or two. Master these 9.5 commandments. Do it for 6 months, and you might be surprised just how different you feel, look, think, and move. And that's where I'm going to leave you today. I would really appreciate a thumbs up on this video, a subscribe, and share this video with somebody that you think might benefit from it. And as always, try to be 1% better today than you were yesterday.